you all bring such valuable experiences to the table. And I know we've got folks across the political spectrum. We got Democrats, independents, and Republicans here. We got small business owners. We got social workers and community leaders.
This issue goes beyond Democrats and Republicans. It is not just one side.
Issues around taxation and affordability, accountability are things that I think all of the community members should be concerned about.
I don't know that a single person that I know hasn't been affected in some way, shape, or form.
It's really important to have somebody like James here because it quite honestly doesn't feel like anybody else cares.
People should pick their heads up and pay attention. They should be involved, regardless of your political affiliation.
I think James really did listen to everybody and took stories to heart.
I think what would be helpful for me is to start off with just kind of telling me, where we've been, so then we can kind of talk about where we can go in the future. But I know there are 3 data center projects here. Is that right? Maybe you could start with telling us, how all this kind of started to become such an issue.
We live by Stargate, so off of 2404.
And this is the big one, right?
The big one.
Okay.
Yeah. And at first it was like, oh, okay, like what are they doing out here? And it felt like nothing was discussed. Like we technically live in Jones County. So whatever happens in Taylor County, we don't really get to say what happens anyway.
Right.
It just felt like it was just sprung on us. Yeah. No discussion happened we didn't get to vote on this, nothing like that.
Yeah.
And there's people that have had to sell their homes because of that. Yeah. And homes have already been bulldozed. Trees are being ripped out everywhere. You see wildlife. Like at one point, there was it felt like carcasses everywhere. Wow. Because they were getting their habitat uprooted. And if anybody knows that if they're driving by the data center, it is dangerous. They pull out in front of you. They do not stop. Yeah. And just like I was telling Casey, an ambulance came by today and nobody pulled over. And it's a 2-lane road. Yeah. So it's very small road and you can't play chicken on it.
Right.
And a big gravel truck threw gravel all over my vehicle so much that it broke, shattered my driver's side window.
Wow.
And the psycho I am did research and found every single phone number, email, whoever I could get a hold of at that company because we knew nothing about it.
Right.
And I apparently bugged enough people that the site manager at the time came out with cash and said, here's to fix your window, but this is going to be the last time that we help anybody like this.
Oh my gosh.
We need mutually beneficial coexistence. Right now, it feels like the citizens of Abilene and the community are getting the short end of the stick.
My son woke up the other night and looked out the window. He goes, Mom, is it still daytime? Wow. And I said, no, buddy, it's like 11 o'clock at night. He's like, why is it so bright outside? And we open up the windows and it's the light from the AI center.
Crazy.
So, it affects everybody.
So, I'm sure this is kind of everyone else's experience. Tell us, about how this first kind of came up for y'all.
Very quickly, people were getting essentially priced out of their homes. It went from traffic to priced out of their homes within about 2 months.
I was renting at the time, and it was a studio apartment with no kitchen and a shower that was about 3 inches above my head, and I'm not a very tall person. So that was $700 a month, and it was in somebody's backyard. And I was like, okay, well, I started my own business, and I took it on the chin, stayed in a $600 RV for about a year, and said, that is what a business owner does.
Right.
If that's what you're going to do, you got to struggle.
Right.
Worked up, got out of that, was able to move back into Abilene. And from the year and a half that I had done that and moved back into Abilene, I went from paying $700 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment here to $700 a month for a place that doesn't have a kitchen sink. And we put an offer in on a house. It was 2 days on the market. We went first-time home buyer. She's a veteran, have all of these, things that were allowed. And 2 days on the market, it had a 50% down payment already down on it, and it's a 1-bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
Wow.
And how the hell is anybody supposed to compete with that? You know, I don't have $86,000 in my pocket to just.
The displacement of community members because of increasing rent. They're asking for $1,400 a month.
A really good friend of mine, that his rent was actually doubled. His house was doubled. And he was like, well, I'm like, what are you going to do? He's like, I have to pay it because I have nothing else to do. I have to.
And is that, I know we got realtors here. I mean, is that what y'all
So
see?
my brokerage has a property management side, and I show most of our rental properties. So last spring and summer was very normal. And then it was like this moment hit where suddenly people from out of state were calling us, begging, trying to secure housing, sight unseen. And I remember there was a duplex that we had a really nice new construction south of town duplex that was renting for $1,800 a month. And we had so many people applied. And I remember somebody called and said, I'll give you $2,100 a month if you pick me.
Wow.
And I thought, holy cow, I've never seen anybody offer an above rent.
Right, yeah.
Well, then you think like the next month comes, well, when that other side of that duplex comes up, what's it gonna rent for?
Right.
I see our local families, military, college, just regular household incomes can't compete because they don't have as much money up front. So like you said, put down a house or even a rental.
My personal position is that I am pro-growth, economic development, I'm pro-technology, I'm pro-community growth. I'm of the opinion that if you're not growing, you're dying. There's no other choice.
We keep getting told that the GDP of Abilene has grown, but a regular person that's either not in construction or not in the real estate market or not an electrician is not feeling that growth. It is making our most vulnerable communities more vulnerable.
I want to acknowledge that there's growing pains, right? I mean, and those of you with children, your kids grow up quickly and they go through seasons of growing pains, and our community, I think, is going through that too. And that's really hard to see past that.
The answer that we all get is it's short-term pain, but I'm studying social work. I work with social workers. That type of shock to your system, to your life, being turned upside down like that is not short-term. That's long-term trauma that takes a long time to get over. And quite frankly, in this state, there's not a lot of attention put to social safety nets in the first place. So
Whether there is a lack of transparency or there is a perceived lack of transparency, it's the same if you don't have all the information. We're also seeing permanent Abilene residents being priced out of their homes. So temporary residents can take their place. Our almost 80-year-old receptionist in our own brokerage just got priced out of her own apartment.
Wow.
She's 80 years old. What is she going to do?
Right.
So, I mean, it's going to take the rest of her savings for her to live out the rest of her life if she wants to stay in the apartment that she's in. So if my electricity bill goes up, or if we give them more energy, what are they giving back directly to our community? Are they building beautiful facilities like this?
Right.
Are our teachers' salaries going to go up?
Yeah, I think those are such good questions. And I think you're bringing up the tension between the need for economic growth, the need for jobs, the need for technology and for Texas to stay a leader in technology and innovation, and all of these costs, all of these pressures that are put on communities, and the lack of, input that, often feels like these data centers are showing up without, the consent of those who live there. So I would love to hear what folks think about the balance between those two things, given that y'all are living through it right now.
I am the Republican in the room, okay? So I didn't come here to endorse. I was on campaign ad. We've all went through that. You know that. I am the Republican. So for the cameras, you know that. Okay? As a small business owner, when you see these data centers come into Abilene, and I feel everybody's paying more rent. I've got employees that it's doubled. I've been to people's house and worked on their houses where they've actually moved into their camper because people pay them $6,000 to live there a month. And you have 10 people in there. I've seen this, okay? Now, as an employer, and you have employees, you have data center people come into town. I eat with them all the time. You see them at every restaurant in Abilene. Good people. I've never had a problem with any of them. Okay? But when they come, they start talking about, you pay your employee just on average $25 for Abilene. Medium, that's good enough. They can make a living 3 years ago. Okay? You got a guy come sits beside him eating lunch. He's making $65. You persuade him to go there. Okay? Small businesses are losing employees to that. Okay, and I'm going to tell y'all what's going to happen. It's going to be like Milling Odessa with oil. This thing's projected, when is it projected to end? 8 years?
3 years. Well, yeah, the build out's 3 years.
We brought 5,000 extra people into Abilene, Texas. That's just the number I'm picking up, okay? So you've got them here, they're making this kind of money. So whenever the data centers leave, what are they gonna do here in Abilene, Texas? Okay, they're not gonna make that money. Their way of living they've adjusted to, though, they're not gonna adjust back down to $25. I can assure you that. I understand we got Republicans and Democrats and so forth. But we got to come together and figure this out, and that is the truth.
That's right.
Okay, and Abilene's full of common sense.
That's right.
Okay, I do believe out there at this data center, there's a ton of workers. There's not 90% of those people can tell us actually what's going on. They're not going to tell you exactly how much water they're going to take from us. They can project you a number to make you feel happy. Okay, they're going to do that. They're going to tell you about electricity. I'm sorry, I know you're the Democratic guy, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen here in Abilene.
In the same way that the energy industry in the state has a commission to watch over, the Railroad Commission, the data centers do not. They fall under general things, they fall under OSHA, they fall under other things. But when Governor Abbott came out and said Texas is open for business, it was a dog whistle to say, come on. And no, you have no oversight. There's nothing to rein the data centers in. It's explosive growth. It's overly explosive, I think. And I am intentionally, I work with some of the hyperscalers. I work with data center developers. There is so much growth all over the country. It is mind-boggling. It really is. And Texas is leading the way. And honestly, I have a fear that the industry is going to contract, I think. And I don't know when it is. I'm not smart enough, and I do not want to wait for Elon Musk to tell me you can put data centers in space. But the technology is going to shift, right? So are we going to be stuck with shells of buildings in 5 years, 10 years that are just sitting there idle, and natural gas turbines sitting there not running because now there's not a grid need for them? So that's a fear that I have, and I worry about, and being in the industry, I worry about no regulation, no oversight, no forward looking. And that's what I want to see our state government and our leaders in Washington try and rein in.
Yeah.